Hey there, and welcome to this week's featured video, Rewiring an Anxious Brain, a helpful lab test to use, where Jen and I share with you how lab testing fits in with supporting neuroplasticity and the one super cost-effective, non-invasive, and easy to collect lab test that we know of and use in our own practices that provides a ton of useful, actionable data on biochemistry, physiology, as well as psychology, and thus serves as a powerful tool for guiding clients on their path to become their own best self-healers and restore and optimize the body, mind, and spirit connection. Hi there, I'm Sarah Korzeniewski, also known as the Organic Dietitian. I'm a functional health practitioner and transformational coach, and you are watching the Wellness Code Academy channel.
Hey there, I'm Jen, also a functional health practitioner and transformational coach and founder of Wellness Code Academy. So you might be thinking, what lab test provides a deep look into biochemistry, physiology, and psychology and is therefore a powerful tool for supporting the healing of the mind-body connection and the process of rewiring an anxious, traumatized brain? And if so, my answer is HTMA, which, if you're not familiar, stands for hair tissue mineral analysis. Now, you don't often hear the terms minerals and neural rewiring in the same conversation, but just as biochemistry, physiology, and psychology are intimately connected, so are minerals and neural rewiring, as everything in the body is connected. This said, I realized early on in my holistic wellness coaching career that there were missing links in the approaches I had learned. I say this because the functional medicine training I received, while it was indeed excellent, no doubt, it was largely focused on the physiological realm and emphasized running labs, creating supplement protocols, and making basic lifestyle and stress reduction recommendations. Now, don't get me wrong, these are all valid, important, and can't be skipped, but true sustainable healing goes beyond this. Both mine and Sarah's personal and professional journeys have led us to realize that biochemical aspects are important, but in many cases, not all cases, many cases, to a much lesser degree than we tend to think. We've come to believe and embrace through many hard-won personal and professional lessons is that chronic disease, no matter the symptoms or diagnoses, most often, not always, because we're not about absolutes, tends to begin in the subconscious energetic realm before it manifests in the physical realm. Now, this doesn't mean ignoring physiological dysfunction such as hormone imbalances, gut infections, high toxic burden, nutrient deficiencies, and more. However, we need to go much deeper into the energy body and work with the whole person within the context of their history, their current circumstances, and how they relate and respond to life in general. Moreover, we need to use supplements strategically instead of recommending a pill for every ill. This approach is not only expensive, but too many supplements and the wrong ones will create, in most cases, further stress on the body and fuel further physiological and psychological dysfunction. Moreover, treating lab results or recommending a supplement for every issue doesn't yield long-term sustainable results, nor does it serve to empower clients to become their own best self-healers. And when choosing lab tests, we need to choose ones that will provide data that we don't already have and that the data is actionable. The lab tests are cost-effective and also ones that best support healing biochemistry, physiology, and psychology simultaneously. As already stated, the HTMA test covers all these bases. And when used correctly, as it takes great skill to interpret properly, it can be a pivotal tool to support the mind-body connection and, like I said, healing and rewiring an anxious, traumatized brain. The mind-body connection brings us into the world of psychoneuroimmunology, which is the study of the interplay between the psyche, the nervous, and the immune systems, and how a person's environment and daily patterns impact each. And if you ask me, this is the wave of the future in healthcare. Coming up in the next session, Sarah's going to reveal how the HTMA is a powerful tool for body, mind, and spirit healing.
So how specifically does the HTMA provide insight into everything we've discussed so far? How can it be used as a tool to help coaches and practitioners better help their clients to not only address biochemistry and physiology, but go beyond them into the realms of deeply ingrained subconscious programs, rewire an anxious brain, and actually address deeper root causes of chronic disease? Here are just 6 ways. Number 1, it's essential to know that minerals are the spark plugs of life. In other words, they are catalysts for enzymatic, biochemical, and physiological processes that keep us alive, well, and functioning, especially the production of cellular energy, which cellular energy is our most precious and life-sustaining commodity. If mineral levels are not optimal or there are imbalances between them, our cells will not function properly. And as already mentioned, biochemistry, physiology, and psychology are deeply intertwined. Dysfunction in one leads to dysfunction in the others. Common psychological manifestations of mineral depletion and imbalances are anxiety, depression, obsessive thoughts, chronic worry, and rumination. Moreover, rewiring an anxious, traumatized brain requires energy, and lots of it. Without optimal mineral status, cellular energy levels will be low and easily depleted. It will be difficult, if not impossible, for the body to hold a charge. And here's the thing, blood labs are not a reliable way to assess minerals as many seem to think that they are. Reason being is that blood is homeostatic. In other words, there is a narrow window that human blood needs to be kept at in the body to keep it alive, and the body-mind system knows this and will pull minerals from the tissue and bone to keep the blood pH within the necessary ranges. If and when mineral imbalances do show up on blood labs, it's most often in the 11th hour, after the chronic disease process has been brewing at the tissue and cellular level for a long time. And now the body is suffering an acute crisis as a result of long-standing low cellular energy and inflammation. Number 2, neurotransmitters are chemical messengers used by the nervous system to relay information from one nerve to another. Optimal neurotransmitter balance is required to maintain proper health. Imbalances can cause the brain and the body to be over or understimulated, producing a wide array of neurological and psychological symptoms. Amino acids are the building blocks of protein in the body, making them crucial for creating and repairing muscle fiber. But they also work to synthesize the hormones we need for communication throughout the body, and they are the precursors to our most important neurotransmitters. For the body to convert amino acids into neurotransmitters, it needs specific nutrients, with minerals being the most important factors on the list. Minerals like magnesium, zinc, sodium, potassium, and iron, and the ratio balances between minerals are all integral parts of the process. But minerals and nutrients do not work in isolation and can be negatively impacted by many factors, which is why getting more insight from an HTMA and getting detailed health history is critical. Number 3, magnesium is one of the primary master minerals in the body and is directly or indirectly related to every single cellular process that happens, especially mitochondrial function and energy production. It is also the most important mineral when it comes to stress tolerance and resilience and is quickly used up during stressful times and therefore becomes easily depleted. One of the most common things that shows up on an HTMA for most people is high magnesium, which in most cases does not indicate an excess of magnesium, but rather the body is under immense stress and therefore is burning through it quickly, and it's being readily lost from the cells and creating an energy deficit. Once again, rewiring an anxious, traumatized brain commands good energy levels, and without optimal magnesium, this won't be the case. When magnesium levels show up on an HTMA, it's not as simple as supplementing with magnesium to fix the issue, as we cannot rely on supplements to outrun factors that continually drain us. So it's also imperative to ask what factors in my life are causing me to be in a state of chronic threat and survival versus in peace and energy producing modes. Number 4, in the HTMA world, there is a mineral pattern we call the 4 lows. This is when an initial test we see deficiencies in the 4 main minerals: calcium, magnesium, sodium, and potassium. This can be a big sign of burnout when the body has been dealing with long-standing stress. So many are struggling with burnout, feeling like they're running on empty, have days when it feels like they've hit a wall and they can't take another step. Whether from work or life in general, burnout can manifest as fatigue, apathy, irritability, difficulty sleeping or focusing, and so much more. There are common symptoms with our client. These are common symptoms with our clients, and I'm sure they are with yours as well. And when it comes to burnout, it's an important question to ask and answer is, where and how in my life have I been over giving of and undervaluing myself, and what shifts do I need to make? This is essential because, again, no amount of supplement protocols or other biochemical supports can outrun the dysfunction of these life patterns, which are common amongst those with highly anxious, traumatized brains. Number 5, another pattern that can be quite common is something called a calcium shell. This is when calcium levels are typically above a 165. Calcium has a calming and relaxing effect upon the muscles and nervous system. Emotionally, low calcium is associated with fast reflexes and emotional reactivity. This is the situation in the fight or flight response. Very low calcium is associated with instability, hyper-irritability, hypersensitivity, and hyperreactivity. A high calcium level acts as a stress buffer. If the calcium becomes excessively high, it is associated with living in a chronic state, emotional numbness, defensiveness, and survival. Calcium shells tend to create a numbing, deadening effect along with apathy, withdrawal, and rigidity. It also dulls the emotional response while also slowing the previously racing mind down, giving the individual a sense of normalcy, though in reality it may not be a sign of healthy improvement, but rather a coping survival mechanism. The calcium shell is yet another way for the body to say, the way you've been operating is not sustainable. It's depleting and making you sick. It's time to make some shifts with making yourself a priority versus others. Rewiring an anxious brain commands proper addressing the calcium shell, which needs to be done with a skilled practitioner. And lastly, number 6, copper imbalances can be another common issue, but can often be hidden even on a HTMA test. Excessive copper within the body causes enhancement of the emotions. Copper stimulates the emotional brain. High copper is associated with obsessive thoughts and behavior, depression, anxiety, mood swings, hyperreactive behavior, and at times violence. Low copper in relation to zinc can cause a lack of emotional response. And this brings me to the end of this list.
Okay, So there you have it, and perhaps now you see why the HTMA is one of our favorite labs to run on clients, and when interpreted well, can provide so much insight, including into psychological aspects of healing, which is required to help us heal physically. And please be reminded that taking minerals alone won't solve all our problems, as many people tend to embrace this way of thinking. We must identify and address the factors in our lives and within us that led to the mineral imbalances in the first place. And it's this process of exploration, discovery, and action that serves as the foundation for rewiring the brain and nervous system for wellness and life success. And that's a wrap. If you found value in this video, please be sure to like it, drop a comment, and if you'd like to see more from us, be sure to subscribe to our channel by clicking on the subscribe button below and hitting the bell next to it to be notified each time a new video is released. And if you're a current or aspiring wellness coach seeking to learn a dynamic approach to healing, wellness, and life optimization, get better client outcomes, stand out in the industry, increase the value of your services, and build a thriving coaching business, then be sure to check out our new freebie, a core missing link in your coaching practice, as well as our full Wellness Code Practitioner Certification Program. You can find links to these and more in the video information. In the meantime, cheers to your healing, resilience, and success.